Alright, so good evening, everybody, and welcome to your community yoga class. This is a free session that we offer every Wednesdays here at the studio, and we upload it in YouTube as well. So if you have friends or family members who might be interested in doing these sessions, but they're not available during our studio time, you can send them the link of our classes, okay? So we usually have themes for our sessions, and today's theme is my favorite theme to work with, and it is yoga for back pains. Why? It's because back pains is something that I feel universally everyone experiences. Whether you're a stay-at-home mom, whether you are a construction worker, whether you are a doctor or working for hours at the office or a police woman, whatever you might be doing in your lives, your back will have a role in whatever you do. So usually, we rub against the portion of our spine that is in pain when we are stressed, when we are having difficulties, or whenever we are tired already. So the usual parts of our body that takes up a lot of that pain is your upper back. So you often do this with your shoulders and your upper spine, or your lower back, and you do this a lot with your low back. So the health of your spine not only makes you feel bad or feel good in your body, but it can affect your mood as well. So obviously, if you are in pain, it naturally translates that you will be a little bit more irritable, you will be impatient, you will get mad easily with other people. But when you feel good, then maybe you have this chance to be a little bit more loving and compassionate when reacting to other people. Case in point, my dad, he's a senior. One time he approached me and he told me that he was feeling back pains. And you can see it already in his face, you can see it already in the way that he moves, that it was really, really painful. So I asked him to do a couple of rounds of cat and cow, which is supposed that we will be doing later on. But I could already see that his movement was very limited. So when you do a cat and cow, you're supposed to arch and round the spine. With him, it was more moving forwards and moving back because it was already super immobile, the spine. So I told him, every day, you do a couple of rounds of your cat and cow. Doesn't have to be on your mat, could be on your chair, could be on your wall, and just do a couple of rounds, 10 repetitions a day. And then after a couple of days, not even days, maybe a week or two, I saw mobility already with his spine. So this is just an example of how incorporating a little bit of movement, you don't have to do a full yoga session for you to get the benefits of your practice. Okay? So with that, we're going to start off in your child's pose. I'm going to invite you to go ahead and come down onto your hands and your knees. And go ahead and set up in your child's pose, opening out your knees as wide as you want, sitting on your heels, and begin to melt your chest and your forehead down to the ground. Welcome, Tita. And already with this pose, I want you to notice how this feels on your back body. Open your knees a little bit wider. Good. And then see if you can sit on your heels. Nice, Mitch. Breathe. And just take a moment to settle into your child's pose. It will naturally feel uncomfortable at the start, but see if you can use your breaths to calm you down, right? So we've been through a lot more in life than this pose. So take a moment to talk to yourselves. Where am I feeling it the most? Is it in my low back, in my mid back, or in my upper back? And maybe as you have that conversation with yourself, you allow yourself to send out your breath to wherever it is that you are feeling it the most. And with each breath that you take, see if you can allow yourselves to breathe more space. Breathe more ease. Breathe more comfort. And maybe whatever you are feeling doesn't necessarily go away, but becomes a little bit more manageable, a little bit more bearable. With love and compassion, you allow yourselves to embrace how you feel. And we take 5 more breaths here. Breathing in. Breathing out 1. Inhale. Exhaling 2. Inhale. Exhaling 3. Breathing in. Breathing out 4. Inhale. And exhaling 5. Now moving nice and slow, begin to roll yourselves forwards into a tabletop position. And as you lift up onto your hands and your knees, go ahead and just give yourselves a couple of gentle sways, side to side, movements with your shoulders, left and right. And if there's any extra movements, extra fidgeting that your body would like to do, please go ahead and allow them to happen here. Now, when you're ready, just go ahead and line up your hands under your shoulders and your knees underneath your hips. And let's do a couple of rounds of your cat and cow. So on an in-breath, let your belly drop down and you begin to tilt your chin and your tailbone up to the sky. As you exhale, you push away from the floor, you round your back and you look down towards your legs. We do it again, please. Inhale, drop your belly down, arch the back and look up to the sky. Exhale, push away from the floor, hollow out your belly. Now, please do this a couple more times on your own. This is the movement that I mentioned at the start of our session that I asked my dad to do on a daily basis. And again, you don't have to do it on the floor. You can do it against a table or against a wall. But notice how much space you are creating with your back body. And just make sure that you remain connected with your breath. Take your time. It's okay if you are moving at a different pace as your neighbor. I want you to experience this pose in your own body. And if there's a certain angle of your spine that is enjoying this a little bit more than the other aspects of the pose, then feel free to linger a little bit longer there. Long, deep breaths in. And long, deep breaths out. Now from here, we're going to begin to make our way to our easy seated pose. So cross your legs and begin to make your way to a seated position. Adjust your bum so that you feel a little bit more rooted and grounded with your sit bones. On an in-breath, reach your arms all the way up to the sky. Exhale, interlace your fingers and let your palms face up to the ceiling. Now, once you have your hands clasped, imagine like you're making circles with your torso, allowing your body to move to the sides, forwards, sides, and back. And I invite you to do this nice and slow. And again, notice where you're feeling it the most. Lots of tightness, maybe on your sides, maybe on your back. So allow your breath to be sent towards those parts wherein you need it the most. Now let's go the other way. Go ahead and let the body rotate in the other direction. And just see if you can do it nice and slow. Breathing into the spaces once again that you're feeling this the most. And this is again something that you can do on a daily basis. Maybe the first thing that you do when you wake up as you get out of your bed. Now finish off one more rotation. And just go ahead and rest your hands on top of your knees. And notice how you feel. Maybe there's a sense of lightness or breath that is radiating up and down your spine. Now on an in-breath, please reach your arms upwards once again. And we're going to do a twist. So let your torso twist over towards your right, placing your left hand onto your knee, and then landing your right fingers down onto the floor behind you as you look over your back shoulder. I want you to notice if your torso is leaning against that back arm. I want you to sit up nice and tall, puffing up through your chest, lengthening to the crown of your head, and use the position of your hands to twist just a little bit more, turning your torso to face more and more towards the back. Now, maintaining your twist, just begin to reach your right arm up to the sky. Take a big breath in there. And then as you exhale, you're tipping over for a side bend. You lean towards the front end of your space. And notice how this feels on your right side body as you use the left hand on the knee to pull your bottom ribs more forwards, and you lean your top ribs just a little bit more back. On your next in-breath, lift the torso upright, and then exhale, thread your right arm underneath the left, and you can lift your knees so that you can grip a hold of the kneecaps. And then begin to let your knees fall forwards and down. And it might not go all the way down, that's perfectly fine. But notice the broadening sensation that is happening on your back, that stretch that is happening on the space between your shoulder blades. Breathe into that. Inhale. And exhale. Now slowly release your knees and begin to reach your arms upwards once again. Exhale, let's do the other side. So you're twisting to the left. Right hand comes to your knee. Left hand lands behind you. And you look over your back shoulder. And again, rather than leaning backwards, see if you can slide your left hand closer to your bum so that you can sit upright, stacking your shoulders relatively on top of your hips so that you can twist just a little bit more with your back body. And the great thing about this pose is you can gauge if it feels good or if it doesn't feel good. So you can either push a little bit more into the twist or lessen the rotation of your spine. Now on an in-breath, your left arm, which is your back arm, reaches up to the sky. Inhale. And then exhale, you tip over towards the front, allowing yourselves to come into that side bend. Now, rather than letting your torso face down, see if you can pull your bottom ribs forwards and lean your top ribs back so that you lengthen your side body. Lengthening from hips all the way to your side ribs, all the way up towards your armpits, all the way up to your arm. Take a big breath in here. As you exhale, thread your left arm underneath the right and begin to let your knees come up so that you can grab a hold of your kneecaps. And again, allow your knees to fall forwards and down. And as you do so, notice the broadening sensation that is happening on your upper back. If it helps, as your knees push forwards, think like there's something pulling your spine back. Inhale and exhale. Unwind with your arms and begin to reach your arms all the way up to the sky. Once again, take a big breath in. And then exhale. Please transition to your tabletop pose. Come down onto your hands and your knees. And we're going to do a second round of your cat and cow. So starting with me, inhale, drop your belly down, arch the back, look up to the sky. And then exhale, push away from the floor, round your back, look down to your thighs. Please do this a couple more times on your own. And begin to notice the difference. Notice the change. Just a few poses with your body, and maybe you're feeling a little bit more spacious with your movements. A little bit more connected with your breaths. Finish off one more round. Inhale. And then as you exhale, we're curling our toes into downward facing dog. We're not staying that long, so go ahead and begin to walk your feet towards your hands. Walk, walk, walk forwards. And just come into a forward fold. Let your torso dangle down. You can bend your knees. And just let your body dangle to your thighs. Relax your shoulders. Relax your neck. Now with soft knees, begin to slowly roll yourselves up, bone by bone. Unraveling your spine, vertebra by vertebra. And as you reach the top, inhale your arms up to the sky. Interlace your fingers and flip your palms to face up to the ceiling. Inhale here. Exhale, look forwards and tip over to the right for a side bend. Inhale, come back up to the center. And then exhale, tip over to the left for a side stretch. Now inhale, come back to the center. Exhale, swim your arms back. Once you have your arms behind you, micro bend your elbows so that you can clasp your fingers. And then with your hands clasped, begin to move your arms as far away from your bum. And at the same time, let your chest puff up to the sky. Take a big breath in here. Exhale, roll your torso upright. Micro bend your knees like you're sitting down in a chair. It's my favorite pose, but it's gonna be a little bit uncomfortable, okay? So take a big breath in here. As you exhale, you're gonna slowly dive your chest to your legs. And little by little, extend your knees as much as your hamstrings will allow. And move your arms as far away from your back. So the reason that I like this is because you're targeting a lot already with just one pose. So notice how this feels on the backs of your legs, how this feels on your low back, mid back, upper back, shoulders, and neck. Now you take a big breath in here. And then as you exhale, you let your arms dangle down to the floor. And you release your knees back down to the mat into a tabletop position. Alright? Once you connect to the floor, we're coming down onto our bellies. So I'm going to invite you to bring your forearms down to the ground. And then slide your legs back so that your hips come connected to the mat. So this is your Sphinx pose. Line up your elbows with your shoulders. Lift your chest and look a little bit more forwards. Okay? So it's a mini side bend, a mini back bend with your spine. So make sure your elbows are down on the floor so that you can stay stable with your body. Lift your head. Lift your head. There you go. Alrighty. Now from this position, you can stay with your elbows on the ground. I want you to gauge how your back body feels. If it's available, you can peel your elbows away from the ground and you come up into your seal pose. If you are still okay, play around with the position of your hands. You can have them far from you or closer towards you. You can have them wider or narrower. See how it feels for your wrists as well. If you let your fingers slightly turn out to the side, like the flippers of a seal. Any discomfort, you reset and you breathe. Maybe lean back just a little bit more. Inhale. And then exhale slowly. Turn your hands and make your way back down onto your elbows. All right. Now from here, you're going to let your left forearm come in. And you let your right hand slide back like you're about to do a push-up position with that hand. Now you bend your right knee and you allow yourselves to roll over to the left. I call this somewhat of like a scorpion twist. So as your hips want to face up to the sky, I want you to let your chest to face a little bit more down to the floor. And doing that counter rotation with your spine allows you to wring out any tension or pain on your back body. Again, see if you can orient your hips to face a little bit more upwards, but at the same time, your chest wanting to face more downwards. Inhale. And exhale slowly. Unwind and release yourselves back down onto your Sphinx pose. And take a moment to absorb how you feel. Let's do the other side. So right forearm comes in. Left hand slides back. Bend your left knee. And go ahead and let your toes cross over to the side. And in as much as your hips want to face up, see if you can let your chest face more down. Take your time to find that sweet spot as well, so that you can again wring out any tension, tightness on your back. One more, okay? So see if you can let your hips face more up and your chest face down to the floor. Inhale. And then exhale slowly, unwind, and release yourselves back down onto your belly. Slide your hands back so that you can press yourselves up into tabletop position. And I'm going to give you the option to either take your Japanese seat, wherein you sit on your heels and you roll your torso upright. Or, if there's pain on your ankles or your shins, you can sit in your easy seated pose. Okay? On an in-breath, you reach your arms all the way up to the sky. As you exhale, slide your right hand underneath your ankle or underneath your butt cheeks if you are seated in your easy seated pose. Underneath your ankle if you're in Japanese seat. Okay lang with the wrist? And then left hand onto the side of your head. And you tilt your head over to the left. And notice how this feels on the side of your neck. Slowly release. Reach your arms up to the sky. Inhale. And then exhale, left hand underneath your ankle or underneath your bum if you are in your easy seated pose. And your right hand catches the head and you tip over to the side. And then slowly release. Inhale your arms up. Exhale, interlace your fingers and bring your palms towards the back of your head. This is another variation of your cat and cow. So on an in-breath, tilt your chin up. Let your elbows open out. Exhale, let your elbows clip in as you bow your head down. We go again. Inhale, tilt your chin up and lean back as much as your spine will allow. And then exhale, round your spine as you look down towards your belly. Do a couple more rounds on your own. So again, this is a variation of your cat and cow. Something that you can do first thing in the morning to mobilize the spine, to create spaces on your back body. Take your time. No need to rush. Let your breath be your guide. If you are stressed, tired, uncomfortable, your breath will be fast. But if you are relaxed, at ease, in peace, your breath will be long and deep. Finish off one more set. Inhale. And exhale. Now, before we end our practice, lower your hands down and let's set up for one more child's pose. So you open your knees as wide as your hips. You walk your hands forwards and melt your chest, forehead down to the ground. And as you settle in to your child's pose, I invite you to notice the difference from the moment that we started and now that we're about to end our session. At your own pace, please make your way up to a seated position. Your choice once again of Japanese seat or easy seated position. And wherever you are, we gather our prayer hands in front of our chest and we take a moment to appreciate this time that we got to spend with each other, to make our back body, our spine, healthy and strong, to make ourselves feel just a little bit better. And for everything that we have gained for today, we bow down in a state of gratitude. Enjoy the rest of your night. Namaste. Thank you, guys.